What's going on, everybody? Let's talk about these Act 6 rewards. I want to give you guys a little bit of a different perspective on them, the free-to-play perspective. And this is usually not something that I like to separate free-to-play versus spending. Because, I like to think we're all playing the same game. We all have to go through the same challenges. Of course, you have a little bit of an advantage for spending. But it feels like that advantage has grown over the past couple of years. To the point where it doesn't really feel like I'm playing the same game. Because I'm looking around at what other people are talking about, the things that they want in order to progress in this game and everything, and just thinking like, man, we're in different places entirely. And this is not something that I usually like to talk about because of a few reasons. One, I don't want this to get confused with why I stepped down from 4 Loki. And two, I really don't want anyone to feel bad about spending. No one should feel bad about spending. I think that's the only way this game exists. If people spend and we get all these awesome updates, makes the game better. So I will never, and hopefully this doesn't come off as kind of a negative towards spenders. I never want to come off that way. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, it's up to Kabam to find that balance between what's okay to sell to players, what the limits are there, how much power they sell versus what you can earn in game. So it's not on the players anyway. But let's go in game, and I'll show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. So I've made a lot of progression videos in the past, and in the progression videos, I used to keep track of my rank. And I noticed that, it was constantly climbing over time. And eventually I got to, like, sub 600 rank. And I was thinking, like, of course, there's zero chance for me to hit rank 1 or even top 100. It's not happening. But I was thinking, hey, maybe if I keep at it, I can get to, like, top 500. It wasn't my reason for playing, but it was kind of my gauge for comparing free-to-play versus spending. And at some point, that just started dropping. And I'm not talking about, this is before I left 4 Loki and everything. It went from, like top 600 to around rank 1200. And this is because of the Cav crystals. Mostly the Cav crystals, I would say, because, of course, you're pulling in new champions. And those give the most amount of rating, which affects the rank the most. So it's mostly due to the Cav crystals and there being zero limitation on that, and you could just buy as many as you want. But it also we've also seen an increased amount of just regular offers that have come around, and it really feels like it's kind of separated. Or at least I can only speak for myself. It feels like I've become a little bit more separated from the pack, which is fine. This is not a sob story. Like I choose not to spend. I made the choice. Like this is how I enjoy the game. So I hope this doesn't come off that way either. That I'm just complaining about my rank dropping or something. I don't care about that. It's just something that I'm using as an example. To explain why it feels like the game has in some ways feeling like it's kind of left me behind. So let's get back to the rewards here and kind of go over why I think I feel a little bit differently about these than other players. A lot of players, I think, are looking for Tier 5 class catalysts and awakening gems for their 6 stars and everything like that. And it feels like I'm still working on the 5 stars, So I can kind of understand why seeing one class catalyst here, one Tier 5 class catalyst doesn't feel like enough, or one 6-star awakening gem crystal doesn't feel like enough. But man, the way I see it is I can expand my roster so much with these resources that I'm kind of okay with it. Like, if we go in game again, I don't want to sit there and add up all the resources, not yet, all the rewards. But if we go in game and we look at my roster here and look at my rank 5 stars, I have 21 of them at the moment. I then in my inventory have a couple of 4 to 5 rank up gems. I have 2 of them that I'm sitting on, so that's 22 and 23 for rank 5s. And then if we look at my catalysts, I have 5 here, but I also have not finished 6.2 100%, which you get a 6th catalyst there. So that puts me at 26 rank 5s. And then in my crystals, I maybe have a full tier 5 basic. I don't know. That's kind of a stretch, but let's just imagine that in my map 7 crystals, you know, and war crystals and stuff like that, I have a full tier 5 basic. So essentially I have 26.5 rank 5 worths of 5 stars at rank 5. I have 0 6 stars at rank 2. I've only spent tier 5 basics on 5 stars so far, trying to cover all the various areas of this game and counter all the different nodes that Kabam throws our way. With these rewards, by the way, the first rank 5, I went back and checked when I completed Act 5.4, and that was January 27th of 2018. So that was the first time that I acquired tier 5 basics to rank up my champions. So it's been a little over 2 years now. It's been 25 months. And in those 25 months, I've accumulated enough resources to have 26.5 rank 5 5-star champions. With these rewards, that 26.5, just in next month's content coming out, shoots up to 35. From 26.5 to 35. So I'm pretty psyched. I'm honestly pretty psyched about it, man. There's a bunch of champions that I want to rank up. The only problem for me, well, there's a few problems that I have. One is I don't have enough inventory space to hold it all, and I'd prefer to spread these resources out throughout the year because, of course, as time goes on, more and more powerful champions come out. So it feels like a waste to go through the content early. But at the same time, I kind of want to go for another Legends run, see if I can get the Wolverine Trophy Champion. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I'm still thinking about it, but you know, if I blitz this content, I'm going to have to rank up champions that I may not necessarily want to rank up. But I mean, it's kind of okay. Like you know, getting to rank 2 my 6-star Gamora and having fun with her or something like that, that's all good with me. So I'm sure I can manage the rank up resources. Plus, some of them come in the form of rank up gems that I can hold. And then I don't have to necessarily rank up every champion right away. So I should be able to manage it, but that is kind of annoying. The other problem is some 5-star champions need higher sig levels, and 5-star sig stones are still incredibly hard to come by if you don't spend, which, you know, again, this is where I feel like I'm a bit separated from the rest of the people playing the game. Everyone's worried about 6-star sig stones, and I'm like, dude, I just want some 5-star sig stones. I can't even get 5-star sig stones. But these offers come out all the time, these 6-stone packages where, you know, you get, you know, 15 6-star sig stones and then 85-star sig stones along with them. People have overflows of these 5-star sig stones. Not to mention starting to get like Sig 200 6-stars where, like, where's the 6-star? Like, I'm not even thinking about 6-star sig stones. They're nearly impossible to get in this game without spending. I'm still worried about the 5s, you know? It just feels like we're in such different places, even though I'm, you know, completing all the content in the game except for the Abyss, essentially. Which the Abyss is another story in itself. You know, the rewards in the Abyss, I can't use those. I can't use tier 5 class catalysts. Like, you know, I have some 6-star champions that I could potentially rank up. You can argue like, hey, you know, those are okay enough champions to rank up, right? You know, Aegon, if I get Aegon Awakened, of course, That's going to be awesome. You know, Emma Frost is pretty cool. Doesn't necessarily need to be awakened, but at the same time, can I justify ranking up Emma Frost when, you know, unawakened especially? What's that going to do to my prestige? It's going to be in the toilet. So can you really say that? Well, I don't know. Then we have Omega Red, who is a monster, but until you get him awakened and fairly high Sig level, once again, it's not a champion that I can tank, that I could rank up, even if I do get the right class type catalyst. Human Torch is probably my best champion, I would say, since he doesn't technically need to be awakened. But then we see things like the Abyss, where you kind of do need that awaken ability. And again, ranking up champion without prestige, like these. Ranking up 6 stars is something so far off of my radar compared to, you know, people who are spending and popping open cav crystals to, you know, to pull more 6-star champions and buying these Sig Stone offers, buying their way through content and everything. Like it's just, yeah, I feel like we're in different places in the game. Is really just the best way I can describe it. So, you know, I'm honestly looking at these rewards and looking at where I'm at in the game and doing the math and saying going from 26.5 rank 5s to 35. And yeah, some of those rewards I'm going to shift into 6 stars probably, but just to make it simple on the math side of things, going from 26.5 tier 5 basic worth of rank up to 35. Like, I'm actually pretty excited about it, man. Which does not mean that I'm happy with the progression overall in this game. All I'm saying is it's a lot of rank up materials. I think that's worth the effort to clear the rest of Act 6. I'm happy with that. But yeah, if we do go back to kind of the progression overall in this game, like I said, it's like a different world. I'm not even playing the same game as some of these guys. You know, the amount of 6 stars that some players have, and the fact that they're already Sig 200, there's no amount of rewards that Kabam can add to Act 6 that will help me compete with those players. It's just not possible. Like, let's start changing some of these rewards. Let's say instead of a random 6-star awakening gem, this is a generic. And same thing with the tier 5 class catalyst. We get a selector, so we get to pick the class type. So that means I'm able to rank 3 and awaken any of the 6-star champions in my roster. I'm not even going to tell you who I go with. It doesn't really matter. You guys could pick for all I care. But now I want to increase their Sig levels. Well, I have 15 generic Sig Stones from the Summoner Appreciation Calendar that was ran last summer. And let's also imagine I picked up the Sig Stone crystals from Cyber Monday, which I ended up passing on, but I think there were 50 of them. I think there were 50 crystals. And then let's also imagine I completed the Abyss 100%. I don't know how many Sig Stones are in there. Is it about 150 or something like that? I think it's about 150. So about 200 Sig Stone crystals in total. Divide that by the 6 class types. You got about 33 for each class. Add the 1 for the Awakening gem, and then the 15 generics, so I can get my champion up to Sig 50. You know, maybe Sig 60 if I get some lucky rolls on the Sig crystals. Like, come on, man, that's a pretty far cry away from the Sig 200 champions that are in players' rosters right now. And I think that's every single 6-star Sig Stone available as a free-to-play player. There's just such a big difference at the moment. You know, I really enjoyed the way Kabam rolled out 5 stars, where there was not a Grandmaster Crystal immediately available. And the balance of the game was different. Sure, there were overpowered champions back then, just like there are today, but, you know, Scarlet Witch wasn't available as a 5-star. You know, a lot of the early 5 stars were not that strong. You did have some powerful ones in there, and eventually some got buffed like Magic, but it just felt like, okay, players had an earlier access to 5 stars if they spent, but it didn't feel like it was as big of a difference, you know. Whereas today, not only do you need to get, you know, lucky opening up your 6 stars, lucky enough to dupe them naturally, and get them high signal and everything. You need the right champion, or else it's not going to matter. Due to how powerful certain champions are, just as 5 stars, they can't be easily replaced. Not even when compared to 6 stars at rank 3. You need some of the best in order to do that, and it's because all of these champions are already available as 6 stars. There wasn't really any holding back, for the most part at least. I mean, we don't have every champion available as a 6-star, but the best of the best we do. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, it's pretty crazy. I mean, let's imagine adding rewards to Act 6 here. Let's say we add another 300 6-star 6-stone crystals. Divide that by the 6 class types. That's another 50, on average, 50 SIGs per class. So now I'm up to SIG 100 on my champion. Again, it just it doesn't compete. You know, it's not anywhere near the same level. You know, it's been like this for a while. It's not something that, like I said, I don't like to talk about this for a few reasons. One, it just comes off really complainy, and I still really enjoy the game. And I appreciate the fact that people do spend money and support the development of the game and everything, and that's awesome. And I also don't want people to think that this is the reason why I left 4Loki, but realistically, how long would it take for me to catch up? When you look at the rewards for other areas of the game, they just don't compare to what you can get for spending. I think there should always be an advantage for spending money in the game. But, you know, like the last season that of Alliance War that I was with 4Loki, we got rank 3, and it just felt like it didn't matter. You know, I feel like Kabam really broke a cardinal rule of free-to-play games, which, I mean, there are no rules. It's up to the developers to make the rules. But for me, I don't think you should be able to buy the next rank before it's available in-game. I feel like that also puts things in a pretty bad place for players, where people were able to buy Tier 5 class Catalyst fragments almost immediately. Not enough to rank up their champions, but of course over time that adds up. And then we have things like Cyber Monday, where we saw the first significant amount, where there was 30% there, compared to the highest single source in-game, which was 25% at the time, for clearing a chapter of Act 6. And, I mean, it just, you know, the real kicker was, like, people were buying those offers of the Cyber Monday offer to get the Tier 5 class Catalyst fragments, and still complaining. Meanwhile, you know, myself and other free-to-play players are just sitting here like, that's cool. You know, like, I don't know, man. It just, I really preferred the way that Kabam did it in Act 5, with allowing everyone to get their first rank 5 5-star all at the same time. That felt so cool to me. You know, I don't want everything to be the same, though, as Act 5. I'm actually happy that there's only one 6-star Awakening gem here. Because if it did follow the same pattern as Act 5, and we got 3 6-star Awakening gems or something, then what would Act 7 look like? There's no room to grow. Act 7 would immediately have to go to 7 stars, and we're just too quickly burning through our rosters and devaluing our rosters. So I want the value to stay there. I'm hoping that Kabam can come up with another way to give value to 5 stars. Because that's the other thing, is like, okay, when you start selling the Tier 5 class Catalysts, and people are able to buy those, then you look at the rewards for this, and it's like, okay, that's what makes it not worth it, because you're just able to buy that stuff. So you see one Tier 5 class Catalyst here, and it's whoop-de-doo. And then for the players trying to catch some of the top spenders in the game, they see this, and it's the same thing. It's like, well, that's not enough for me to catch up, so, again, whoop-de-doo. So, yeah, I'm really hopeful that Kabam can come up with a way to continue or maintain the value of 5 stars. I think one way they can do that is possibly through the dungeons. You know, right now, no one actually ranks up champions to do dungeons. People rank up champions for everything else in the game, for prestige, to get through their paths in an alliance quest, alliance war attack, alliance war defense, to handle the weird nodes that Kabam comes up with. But honestly, we get rank up materials so quick these days that we're able to outpace the nodes that Kabam can come up with. So even things that require like Power Sting or Unstoppable, these kind of oddball nodes, players are already countering them. Players are already saving materials and ranking up champions to counter them. But in the dungeons, champions have cooldowns. So I'm thinking and I'm kind of hoping that Kabam can create an opportunity to motivate players to rank up not only the best of a certain class type, but to rank up several of a certain type. So let's say a Mystic Power Control champion. You use that in the dungeons, and then they're on cooldown, so, okay, you need to go to the second best Mystic Power Control champion, and the third best, and the same thing for all types of champion. The best Incinerate damage-dealing champion, along with second and third best. And hopefully that will be a way to kind of slow down just the progression of burning through these different star levels of champions and their ranks, if we can continue to value, you know, just kind of widening your roster for things like this. So I'm hopeful that the dungeons will bring that to the table, but you know, we'll have to see. But for now, I guess that's enough, man. I've rambled on enough. I just wanted to offer up a free-to-play perspective. I'm psyched about these rewards. It's just, you know, it's the rest of the progression in the game that kind of devalues these rewards. But otherwise, man, like, it's a lot of catalyst here. You know, I'm pumped to go through Act 6. I'm not sure if I'm going to go for Legends Run or not. I'll have to think about that in the coming weeks, but I'll keep you guys up to date on that one. And yeah, thank you all for watching. See you in the next video. Take care.